It is mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, as always, Harrison Graham. We're going to answer as many questions as you guys send in, or at least as many as we can get to. So use hashtag Bears, or you can super chat. Shout out to Wasim for sending in a $10 super chat to kick things off. He says, FGB, F Don Burr, sorry Rolly, Nuggets and 6. How active do you see the Bears being post-June 1st? I think fairly active. I don't think once the clock hits midnight on June 1st, they're going to go sign 7 players. But Ryan Poles is opportunistic. He'll see what's out there, and we'll go from there. I think some players around the league could get cut after June 1st, so we'll keep an eye on those names, and we'll see if any of them could make sense for the Bears. Raging Bull with the 10 as well. Appreciate it. If we clinch the division this year and go to the NFC title game, let's have a party. I'll tell you what, guys. Subscribe to the channel. If the Bears go to the NFC Championship game, number one, you'll know that we're going to be live for every single game. So that includes playoff games if the Bears make it there. Knock on wood. Hopefully that happens. And if they advance to the NFC title game, we will be partying on the channel for a very long time. So, yes, that will happen, Raging Bull. From Art Soto, would the Packers tank for Caleb Williams? I hope not. I think they're, in all seriousness, they'll give Jordan Love every chance to be the guy this year. But if he's underperforming at a high, in a bad way early on, they could end up just kind of tanking the season and trying to get the number 1 pick, which we do not want that to happen. I don't think they'll be bad enough where that happens, to be frank. But we've suffered through Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers for 30 years. We don't need the Packers getting Caleb Williams. They deserve to be in some QB purgatory for a few years. So the hope is Jordan Love is just good enough that he would return the next year. But we'll see. I would not be surprised if the Packers ended up with Caleb Williams because it's the Packers, and they always get good quarterbacks. Sam Lectara with the $50 super chat. He says, give me 40-year-old Jay Cutler with a carton of lit cigarettes before signing Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup. That sounds like an awful use of cap space no matter what discount you get. Now, Sam is referring to the fact that the Raiders, a report came out, can cut Jimmy G with no dead cap penalty if he fails a physical before week 1 because he had foot surgery. I suggested sign him for dirt cheap right before the season if he were to get cut. I understand if you don't want him, but if they were to add him, it's not like they would invest big money into him. It would just be a little more insurance for Justin Fields. Walter the GOAT, is Khalil Herbert going to be the Bears' RB1? For now, I have him as the starting running back. I think as a pure runner, Herbert is probably the best runner in this system, but he's not great as a pass catcher. That's an area he needs to improve at. And an area he really needs to improve at is as a run blocker and blitz pickup guy. He really struggles in that way. He's got to be able to pick up blitzes on third down, and if he can't, he's not going to be playing a ton of third downs. That's where Roschon Johnson comes into play. Deontay Foreman can do some of that. So I think he will get the nod to be this team's starter to start, but that may not hold. I mean, Roschon and Deontay Foreman are two solid players that are going to have a lot to say about that. I think that competition is going to be very, very real in the Chicago Bears backfield. So we'll see. Shout out to Walter the GOAT, Walter Payton, the true GOAT of the Chicago Bears. Richard Lococo, what do you think the Panthers' record will be this year? Hopefully 0-17 and the Bears get the number 1 pick again. I don't know. If they were in any division but the NFC South, I think it would be pretty poor, but that division's bad, so they could sneak a few wins and even compete for that division. I hope that's not the case. I mean, worst case scenario for the Bears is Carolina wins that division because then that pick is, 18th at best. So, yeah, hopefully they don't win the division. If they miss the playoffs altogether, you're guaranteed a top 17 pick from Carolina. So hopefully it's even worse at the end of the day. But I'll say 6-11. I don't think it's going to be a bottom 1, 2, or 3 team, but I do think there'll be a bottom 6 or 7 team. Give me a top 10 pick. That's what I'm hoping for from the Panthers. Now, who is your least favorite Bear of all time? Pick a guy. Least favorite Bear in franchise history. Maybe it was a guy who literally was here for a game. Maybe you're thinking of a guy like Amir Smith-Marset, who had a brief stop last year and fumbled the game away against Minnesota. Let me know who your least favorite Bear of all time is. How many UDFAs will make this roster? I don't know. I mean, could Tyson Bagent beat out Nathan Peterman and make it as a third-string QB? I kind of think practice squad's more likely there. I don't think any receivers make it because you're deep there. Potentially a tight end. They signed Steven Carlson as a vet after rookie minicamp. He's not a rookie technically, but maybe he could fit that mold. Maybe an offensive line sneaks in there. We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, I think we got to see how it plays out. D'Anthony Jones, defensive lineman out of Houston, that's a name to watch during OTAs and minicamp as well. RDA, you guys think the Bears are looking at Hopkins? I honestly think our wide receiver room is okay as it is. I don't think the Bears are going to be that interested here. He signed with Clutch Sports, which means he's not taking a discount. Now the Bears can pay. They have cap space, but I mean, who's reducing their role if you sign Hopkins? I mean, him and DJ Moore would be your top two guys. I mean, you'd probably just throw Mooney in the slot. You're punting on Chase Claypool already if you sign Hopkins. I think Hopkins is better, but he's going to be 32 next year. Like, I just don't think the Bears fit his timeline, and I don't think he fits the Bears either. Abe Williams, who would win a starting spot first, Dexter or Pickens? On the defensive line, Javon Dexter or Zach Pickens? I'll go Dexter. I mean, they drafted him higher. I think he's a little more explosive, so we'll see. I think both these guys have a chance to contribute right away, but in terms of who will start, time will tell. Hopefully they both end up starting, because then that would be two good draft picks. All right, Bulls fans. I know we got a lot of Bulls fans here on Chicago Bears Now. We've launched a Bulls YouTube channel here at Chat Sports as well. The link is down below. It's youtube.com/@BullsReport. Go subscribe. I made my Bulls report debut last week, and it looks like I might be hopping on about one video per week over there. So if you guys want more from me, and if you are Bulls fans, stay in the loop. youtube.com/@BullsReport. That link will be in the description of this video and in the comments. Go subscribe. Go show my good pal Patrick Seatman, one of our producer on-air guys here at Chat Sports. He's in charge of that channel. Go show him some love by subscribing over there. And if you want daily Bulls videos, that's the channel for you. From Wyatt, do you think the Bears will bring Leonard Floyd back? I hope so. He was a stud, but you see that Bobby Wagner got cut, but he re-signed, and he almost lost in 7. Should have won a long time ago. Kind of all over the map here, Wyatt, but I'll focus on Leonard Floyd. I think it's possible. He's been pretty much just a 3-4 guy in the NFL, and obviously the Bears run a 4-3, but you need pass rushers. You only had 20 sacks last year, so I would be open to signing Leonard Floyd. From Rentifer, what is the number one thing the Bears improve on this year? I hope it's the passing game. And I hope it's just Justin Fields in general, but especially as a passer. Lazy people out there say he can't throw. He can. It's just about being more consistent with it. I think he's got proper weapons around him now. I think a full year in this system should help. But yeah, I think that needs to be the thing that improves more than anything is a reliable passing game. Doesn't have to be a top 5 passing attack. How about top 20? Top 20, top 22 passing game with how good this team is going to be able to run the ball? That would make me pretty happy. From Tyler Coffey, when will the Bears get an edge, soon or after minicamp? We'll see. They might wait until after mandatory minicamp, and you got 5 weeks there between minicamp and training camp. That's when a lot of teams kind of reevaluate where they're at roster-wise, and kind of another wave of free agency typically hits late June, early July, so that could be a time. Maybe they do it after OTAs before minicamp. Who knows? We'll see. A lot of the edge rushers out there, I think, are purposefully waiting because they don't want to go to OTAs, so they could just be waiting as well. So we'll see. I would say between now and training camp is kind of the window for that. From Go Bears, Micah Parsons keeps hyping up Justin Fields. Could Chicago trade for him or sign him one day? Now, obviously, he's only played, a couple years in the NFL, but he's been fantastic, right? You look at his 2 seasons in Dallas, 26.5 sacks with over 13 each of his first year. A lot of pressure, good pressure rate. He can play edge. He can play a linebacker. And he does hype up Fields a lot. Like, he's gone out of his way to, go public with how good Justin Fields is. And some people are like, could he be a Bear? I'm not saying that. Like, Dallas ain't trading him. I'll tell you that right now. But a couple years go by, maybe the Cowboys have to enter some kind of rebuild or something like that. You never know. I would certainly love to have him in Chicago. Micah Parsons is an absolute stud. Name a player that the Bears should trade for. Listen, I would probably trade both my first next year to get Micah Parsons. I know that sounds crazy, but I would definitely consider it. Let me know what you guys think. Name a player that you think the Bears should trade for. Juan Espinoza, do you think the Lions are being overhyped to win the NFC North? I don't know if they're being overhyped, but I don't think they're going to be able to live up to the hype. Like, it's Detroit. On paper, they're the best team. I will freely admit that. But games aren't won on paper. It's won on the gridiron. You got to execute. You got to play well. Is Jared Goff going to be able to handle all this attention? I mean, they put this team to start the season Thursday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, if they get railroaded in that game, the pressure is only going to ramp up. I don't think they live up to the hype. I think they'll be a good team, but some people think this team could win the NFC. I just don't see it. Taylon Reynolds, do you think DJ Moore will have more touchdowns this year than previous years? I hope so. I mean, that's one area where his statistic has been kind of deflated. You know, he's never had a 10-plus touchdown season, but the Panthers have just been horrific offensively. They have not had good quarterback play. So you're hoping he helps Justin Fields, and Justin Fields helps him, and this turns into an awesome partnership, and he has 8 to 10 touchdowns. That'd be great. Mike Nintendo, do you think the Bears will sign Clark, Floyd, or Clowney? I'd love to get one of them in here, man. And I don't really care which one it is. I think all three of these guys would help. Floyd and Clowney are proven run defenders. Floyd improved as a pass rusher with the Rams. Clark is good at both. Clowney's not the best pass rusher, but he's a great run stopper. I'd be fine with any of these three, or quite frankly, I'd sign 2 of them. Daniel Atkins gets the final word. Alex Leatherwood, bounce back player for the Bears. What are your thoughts on how he will progress from illness that sapped his power that led him to being a backup in Chicago? Let me just say this. Bounce back year from what? He's been bad. So maybe breakout year? That'd be nice. He's not going to start for this team. But look, if Alex Leatherwood can be a reliable backup, a guy that can play tackle or guard, be like a number 6, number 7 offensive lineman for you, that's great. I don't have high expectations for him at this point. Get him in there. Let him compete. Barring a disaster, he will not be a starter for this team. Appreciate all the questions here on Bears Now. Be sure to follow me on social media at HGramNFL on Twitter and on Instagram. We'll answer all of your questions over there at HGramNFL on both. If you didn't get your question answered on the show, hit me up on social and we will get those questions answered.